Hello dear students, welcome back to our history class. Today once again I am here to talk with you about a new lesson. So dear friends, our new lesson name is Ancient Kingdoms of the South. Means in this lesson we have to learn about the kingdoms of the South, but these are ancient kingdoms. So before going to start a new lesson, I want to tell you that in the beginning of this course, I told you in the 6th standard, we have to learn about the ancient history of India. And you can see the title of the lesson is Ancient Kingdoms of the South. Means in this lesson, we will study the ancient kingdoms, but the ancient kingdoms of the South. Because up to last lesson we have studied about the kingdoms or the dynasties which were ruling into the north or northwest region of our India. So in that we study about the Maurya Empire, then we also came to know about the Gupta dynasty, Vardhan dynasty. So these are the kingdoms or dynasties which rule into north or northwest region of the India. So now we will study about the south or the kingdoms of the south. So now we have to see the ancient kingdoms of the south. So student, first of all we have to learn about the Chera, the Pandya and the Chola dynasties. So these are also famous dynasties of ancient times. So students, of the many dynasties in South India, 3 are mentioned in the literature, and these 3 dynasties are, which I told before, the Chera, the Pandya and the Chola. So these are well-known dynasties in the history of South India. And another thing we have to know, these 3 dynasties were in power around the 4th century BCE. Means the Chera, the Pandya and the Chola dynasties were in power around the 4th century BCE or even before that. Means generally we can say around the 4th century BCE, these 3 famous dynasties were ruling into the South India. And not only this, about these 3 dynasties they mention in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, the great epics. Means students, as you know that Ramayana and Mahabharata are the great Indian epics, and in these epics there is a mention about these 3 dynasties, that is the Chera, the Pandya and the Chola. So now we have to see more about these 3 dynasties. So students, as I told you that they mention about the 3 dynasties in the Ramayana and in the Mahabharata. Not only this, but they have also been mentioned in the Emperor Ashoka's book, and the Emperor Ashoka's book is the Maurya Emperor Ashoka, and the book name is Periplus of the Erythraean Sea. In the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, this book belongs to Emperor Ashoka's period. In this book also there is a nomination about these 3 dynasties. Not only in the Sangham literature. Sangham literature is the famous literature of the South India. In that Sangham literature, these kingdoms have been mentioned. So by this we can understand the importance of these 3 ancient dynasties of the South India. We have to know another important thing of the ancient South India, the Muziris. The Muziris is the name of port and which belongs to the period of Chera dynasties. So this port is also mentioned in this literature, and nowadays this port lies in Kerala state, and this port was very famous for trade. because this port was major center for the export of spices, pearls, precious stones, etc. Means through this port the pearls, precious stones and spices were exported to the Rome of Italy. Means international trade was carried out by this port, that is Muziris, which is in Kerala, and this port belongs to time of Chera kingdom or Chera dynasties. Second, the Pandya kingdom was part of today's Tamil Nadu. Means the Pandya kingdom was part of today's Tamil Nadu. In other words, we can say that today's Tamil Nadu was the part of Pandya kingdom. Like this also we can say. And the capital of the Pandya kingdom was Madurai, which is the famous city of today's Tamil Nadu. So Madurai was the capital of Pandya kingdom. And the last one is the Cholas dynasty. This Chola dynasty or Chola kingdom occupied the region of Tiruchirappalli in the Tamil Nadu. So means by seeing this we can say that the Chera, the Pandya and the Chola dynasties were the famous dynasties of the South India, and they lies between the today's Kerala and Tamil Nadu state. So now one of the most famous dynasty of the South India we have to learn, and that is the Satvahana dynasty. So now we are going to see the Satvahana dynasty. So students, as in the north, after the decline of Maurya Empire, the local kings in Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka also became independent. Means students, as I told you that Maurya Empire was the one of the major empire of the India, and when the Maurya Empire declined, so with the declination of the Maurya Empire, some local kings in Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, they became independent. And after being independent, these kings established small kingdoms of their own. Means before they were ruling under the Maurya Empire, but when Maurya Empire declined, after that the local kings of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka established their own kingdoms. Though they were small in size, but also they established their own kingdoms, because after decline of Maurya Empire they became independent. And the Satvahana dynasty is also one of them. And especially the Satvahana dynasty ruled over the Maharashtra. So now we have to see about the Satvahana dynasty. First of all, the King Simukh. King Simukh was the founder of Satvahana dynasty. The founder of the Satvahana dynasty was King Simukh. And the capital of Satvahana kingdom was Pratishthan. Nowadays, Pratishthan is known as Paitan, which is the one of the famous city of Maharashtra. So nowadays it is known as Paitan, but in ancient time the Paitan was known as Pratishthan, and this Pratishthan or Paitan was the capital of Satvahana's kingdom. So students, now near the Junnar is the famous taluka which is in Pune district. So in Junnar taluka there is inscription in the caves of Naneghat, and this inscription bears the names of famous kings of this dynasty, means Satvahana dynasty. It means that in Pune district, Junnar taluka or Junnar tehsil is there, and in this Junnar taluka there are caves. The name of that caves is Naneghat. So there is pillar inscription, and on that pillar inscription there the name of the famous rulers of the Satvahana dynasties are mentioned, means that pillar inscription bears the name of the rulers of the Satvahana dynasty. Another thing we have to know about the Satvahana dynasty, some of the Satvahana kings were known to write their mother's name before their own name. Means some Satvahana kings were writing their mother's name before their own name. For example, Gautami Putra Satkarni. So here Gautami is the name of mother of King Satkarni. So that's why he written Gautami Putra Satkarni. And the King Satkarni was one of the famous and important ruler of the Satvahana dynasty. Because of the Satvahana kings, Gautami Putra Satkarni is particularly well known because he was a brave, and there is a mention about his brave deeds or about his valor. So a stone inscription is there near the Nashik, means Nashik which is one of the famous city of Maharashtra. So at the Nashik there is a stone inscription, and in that stone inscription there is a description about the brave deeds of the King Satkarni. Means on that pillar inscription the information is there about the brave actions or about the brave deeds of King Satkarni, Gautami Putra Satkarni. He had defeated the Shaka kings, and the Gautami Putra Satkarni is also known as Trisamudra Toy Pit Vahan. Trisamudra Toy Pit Vahan. So Toy means water, and meaning of this sentence is that one whose horses have drunk the water of the three seas. Trisamudra Toy Pit Vahan. Toy means water, and the meaning of this whole sentence is that the one whose horses have drunk the water of three seas, and the three seas are Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean. Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean. So it means that the one whose horses have drunk the water of three seas. So they want to tell us that Gautami Putra was famous because the information about his deeds were spread in the three directions. That is, as you know that Arabian Sea is in the west, Bay of Bengal is in east, and Indian Ocean is in south. So east, west and south, in these three directions there was spread about the actions of the Gautami Putra Satkarni. During the period of Gautami Putra Satkarni, the Satvahana kingdom spread from north to south, means from Narmada river to the Tungabhadra river. So students, here you have to know the Narmada river decides the north direction and Tungabhadra river decides south direction. So in the period of Gautami Putra Satkarni, the Satvahana kingdom spread from north to south. This we have to mind. So students, now we have to see about the poetic work of the Satvahana kings, and the name of the book is Gatha Saptashati. This book is composed by the Satvahana king, namely Hola, and this is the major source of information about the life of the people during the Satvahana kingdom or during the Satvahana kings. So students, when Gautami Putra Satkarni was ruling, or we can say during the period of Satvahana kings, the trade was flourished, means the trade was developed. And here they mention some name of some places. For example, Paithan, Ter, Bhokardan, Kolhapur. So these all places are in Maharashtra state, and these are well-known places recognized as important centers of trade during the Satvahana kings or Satvahana kingdom. During this period, many artistic objects were produced at these places, and Indian goods were exported to the other countries, and the trade was carried out far away. It means international trade also was existing during the Satvahana kingdoms, this we can say, and mainly the trade was carried out with the Rome. Now we have to see about the coins of the Satvahana kings. So the coins of the Satvahana kings bears the images of ships. You can see into the picture. So the Satvahana coins were bearing the images of ships. It means that they were using ships to carry out their trade. So students, in this way, today we learn about the one of the famous dynasty of the south, and that is Satvahana dynasty. I hope you understand it. The remaining part of the lesson we will see into next video. Thank you.